A key U.S. official has quit in protest over a war he says isn't worth it. We have the detailed resignation letter he supposedly wrote that outlines the realities on the ground that Americans are not being told about. Let's bring in senior foreign affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz. She's in Washington. Martha, tell us, what is in this letter and what does it mean based on who it's coming from?
Chris, it is written by Matthew Ho. He is a Foreign Service officer in Afghanistan, a senior Foreign Service officer there, and a former Marine, a decorated Marine who served in Iraq. And he has written a 4-page letter of resignation, the first U.S. official who we know of to resign in protest over the war in Afghanistan. This is what he says specifically. I fail to see the value or the worth in continued U.S. casualties or expenditures of resources in support of the Afghan government in what is truly a 35-year-old civil war. He went on to tell the Washington Post, I want people in Iowa, people in Arkansas, people in Arizona to call their congressman and say, listen, I don't think this is right. And Chris, the U.S. ambassador in Afghanistan, tried to talk Matthew Ho out of resigning. The special representative, Richard Holbrooke, did the same. It didn't work.
What about the impact of these issues? Because people can differ with Mr. Ho's conclusions, but these issues, that it's not about the Taliban, it's about tribal warfare, that we can't help the disgust for local government, that if you want to stop al-Qaeda, why would you just be in Afghanistan when they're in at least a dozen other countries? What do you think will be the impact of that kind of assessment?
Well, I think you've hit it on the head there, Chris. It is really the conclusions he comes to that are so disturbing. This is someone on the ground. This is someone who served as a civilian, served in the military. They're going to pay a lot of attention to this resignation, and I do believe it will get a lot of attention.
Well, it certainly is, right? I mean, we're talking about it, and often it now pushes the window for this decision. President Obama was at a naval air station. He gave a speech where he said, I will never rush the solemn decision of sending you into harm's way. Let me ask you, this was said on Monday in light of the crashes with the choppers and now this letter. Is the time he's taking being seen as deliberation or delay?
Well, it depends on who you ask, but I'll tell you, I have talked to troops in Afghanistan, and they say they're in no greater danger, but there is a morale issue here. They do want President Obama to make a decision, and I think he will make one within a couple of weeks. Chris?
Martha, we hear the same thing from people on the ground. They're emailing the troops saying, we just want an answer. We want to know what the mission is. Thank you very much for the reporting this morning. Appreciate it, Martha.